What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with Adam Ronis, bringing you the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live stream recording here on Wednesday for a big 11-game slate. And
what's
Adam,
going on,
as
FA
we're going
Nation?
online,
Jon Impemba here with Adam Ronis,
injury
bringing you
news
the
coming
Fantasy
fast
Alarm
and furious
NBA
at us. Kevin Love ruled out, Mike Conley ruled out, but the big one, maybe the most unexpected one, Karl Anthony Towns, and what is probably the best possible spot he can get all year against Charlotte, all of a sudden ruled out with a wrist injury, having a scramble. Did a quick search of their depth charts. Naz Reid is likely like the only center that they have available. They supposedly sent Amari Spellman to the G League today. I don't know if they can turn that bus around quick enough to get him back or what, but for 11-game slate, having this kind of news break, it's going to definitely make some adjustments to people's lineups.
Yeah, for sure. Towns was in a good spot tonight. He faced the Hornets earlier this year and absolutely destroyed them. Yeah. We know they've been really terrible against front courts, specifically centers this year. I mean, that game that he was up against them, it was way back in October. 37 points, 15 boards, 8 assists, 4 threes, 4 steals, and 2 blocks in 28 minutes. So
83 fantasy points.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people were going to look at him tonight, and unfortunately he's out. So yeah, Naz Reid certainly in play, D'Angelo Russell. So yeah, everyone on Minnesota gets a boost. They're home. They were 8.5-point favorites. So I'm assuming that line's going to drop a little bit now. Right. But certainly Minnesota, a lot of value there. And we already have some value on this slate. So yeah, it'll be an interesting slate tonight.
We do have a lot of value already on the slate. And heading into the slate, we already knew that Giannis wasn't going to play. So it just, again, 2 big price plays ruled out. It'd be interesting to see how these lineup builds happen. But like I said, we got 11 games, so we got a lot of players to get to. You were the man on the playbook. You and I recorded the podcast last night. Give us a good first look. A lot of good ideas, I think, for today's slate and how to attack it. So it's no surprise to me to see Trae Young at the top there. At a over 10K price tag on both sides. We've been attacking Cleveland all season long. He's coming off of, I guess what we should have expected was a down game, the double OT on the road against the slow-paced Magic. But bouncing back here, I'm expecting big production tonight.
Yeah, he's a great tournament play because we know he has that immense ceiling. He can get you 60 to 70 fantasy points. That's what you're looking for tonight. And I don't think he'll have high ownership. And, as you mentioned, the Cavaliers are a great matchup. And the last time he faced the Cavs, he had 30 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals. Atlanta's a slight favorite on the road by 2, but they've played a really difficult schedule lately. I mean, they've faced some really good teams and been competitive, and the Cavaliers have been terrible. They're trending downward, even though these teams' records are similar. Hawks are just a better team. Cavaliers have lost 13 of 14, so Trae Young's in a good spot tonight. You have to spend up for him, but there's enough value now that you can do it.
So we have Luka below him. He already confirmed he's making his return. We haven't seen any news, at least I haven't seen any news yet, regarding a potential minutes limit here. If he's a full go, he gets an amazing matchup against Sacramento. We talked about on the podcast last night where they feel like we wouldn't play him unless he wasn't going to be limited. Like, what's the point of having him go play 20 minutes before the All-Star break comes up? How are you feeling about Luka as a pivot off of, because he's cheaper than Trae Young over on FanDuel tonight?
Yeah, I like the price better on FanDuel at 9,700. And, Luka's had a great year. So you mentioned the matchup against the Kings. The last time he faced them, 25 points, 15 rebounds, 17 assists. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think he'll be limited. We haven't seen anything. Otherwise, why play him right before the All-Star break? My guess is he wants to play in this game because he wants to play in the All-Star game. So he wants to get cleared and get out there. But, yeah, I mean, anytime you get Luka at this price for what he can do, and, with Towns out and some of this salary that opens up, yeah, you consider him. I feel as good about him last night, but as I go through things today and see this news, I mean, 9,700 on FanDuel is probably the best price we're going to get the rest of the year.
I was going to say, how often are we getting Luka at under 10K this year? Probably the only time this season. Again, we'll see it. So I'll bite with that as well. Other top tier guard, you got Dame Lillard again. We like him better at home than on the road, but he's smashing anyways. I sort of would rank him probably third of the group unless we do get word that Luka is going to be limited. In my opinion, I know again he's cheaper than Doncic and Young on DraftKings, cheaper than them all on FanDuel as well. But for me, just knowing like the I guess it's unfair to say upside because we've seen Lillard just smash lately as well. But I still kind of have him third unless we get a limited Luka. How are you feeling about Lillard here?
I like him a little bit better than Luka. I think this is a big game for Portland today. The starters pretty much rested the fourth quarter last night because they were blown out by the Pelicans. So I'm not really as concerned with the back-to-back. Lillard's a guy, to me, just has so much energy. I don't even care about that. It's a big game for them. That was a bad loss last night. They're chasing Memphis here, and it's a high-paced game. The Grizzlies have been playing better defense lately, though. But we've just seen Lillard blow up, and I know he had a down game last night, and that's probably in the back of some people's minds, and they might shy away from him. So I'm fine with Lillard.
All right. If we're looking in the mid-tier, obviously Eric Bledsoe is the one that jumps out. Is there any way you avoid playing him tonight?
It's hard not to play him on FanDuel, man. Although now I see that the Pacers are favored by 1. I saw the line come out last night, Milwaukee favored by 1.5, and I'm like, this is a huge trap because everyone's going to be over Milwaukee, and the Pacers have been terrible. But it's hard not to play him on FanDuel at 6,700, especially in cash games. Tournaments, you want to fade him, fine. To me, point guard is a position tonight. And you'll see I don't really have any cheap point guards in the playbook. Right. You're paying up for it tonight. There's so many good options. So, and all the values at small forward, power forward, even center. So you're going to pay for point guards tonight. The key is which ones. I mean, in Bledsoe and Cash and FanDuel, just play him, man. And if he flops,
high ownership.
Right. And if he flops, you're with the rest of the field. Now, on DK, they raised the prices. I mean, he's 7,700. You don't have to go there. I'm still fine with it. But yeah, I mean, a FanDuel, I think you just play them, especially in cash tournaments. There's plenty of good options that you can go in a different direction tonight.
All right. What other, if we're not talking Bledsoe here, as you mentioned, DraftKings pricing a little bit more. There's guys like Dinwiddie, Lowry, Elf Payton, who of the podcast last night, I'm a big fan of still. How are you ranking those trio?
Probably now that Ibaka's in, I don't think it hurts Lowry that much, but maybe a little bit. I like Dinwiddie. He's in a good spot. He's had 2 straight double-doubles. I think the Nets win this game tonight at home. I think they end Toronto's winning streak. That was one of my bets on Wager Alarm. Nets getting 3.5, but I think they win straight up. So I like Dinwiddie tonight. We know he gets the big usage without Kyrie on the court. I don't think he'll have big ownership. I do like Lowry. It's a great matchup here. He's got at least 10 assists in 3 straight games, double-doubles in all of them. And we know that the Nets are a good matchup. And it's a close game based on the spread. Peyton, I think, will be low owned. It's a good spot here at home against Washington. They're playing on a back-to-back. It's his former team. And we've seen some upside. He's at least 44.8 DK points in 3 of the last 5 games. So, again, a lot of good options here at point guard tonight.
Yeah, there are definitely a ton. And like you said, there's not a ton of value on this slate at the guard position opening up. On DraftKings, we could have maybe said, Jordan Clarkson, but they even priced him up to 5,300. So we're not even really getting any sort of like discount on him after his most recent games with the Conley news out. So you're right. You're probably spending up, or at the very least, the mid-tier at your guard position. How are you feeling at shooting guard? I mean, I see you got Bradley Beal. They're on the back-to-back. Is that something that you're looking to, go up against here against the Knicks?
He's not like top priority for me, but I'm fine playing him. I mean, it is against the Knicks. It's a back-to-back, but it's at the Garden. I think Beal feels he was snubbed for the All-Star game. I could see him coming in there, putting on a show. Remember, Wizards are fighting for a playoff spot now.
Right.
I mean,
they're healthy now, so.
Right. 2-3 weeks ago, we wouldn't have thought about that, but they're like 3 games behind Orlando, so it's a big game for them. So Beal's fine. For sure. Again, not someone that I'm probably going to have a ton of exposure to, but if you have the money, because this price is kind of high, 9,600. We haven't really seen him 5x that recently, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had a 50, 60 fantasy point game tonight.
Do you think Phoenix and Golden State could be a little like game stack to play tonight using Booker?
Absolutely. Definitely. I mean, Booker's pretty cheap tonight. I think he's going to be popular on both sites. We know DeAndre Ayton is looking like he's not going to play. That was the word from Monty Williams earlier today. Booker has a usage rate of over 30% without Ayton on the floor. We know how bad the Warriors are defensively, and they're essentially tanking. So, yeah, Booker's in a good spot tonight, coming off a disappointing matchup against the Lakers, and we get him at a pretty good salary. So, Booker could blow up tonight.
Yep, I'm a big fan of Booker as well. Again, other shooting guards. excuse me. I don't know if he is a small forward on FanDuel. But Chris Middleton again. Same thing as Bledsoe. You have him at shooting guard, so he's a small forward only on DraftKings. Again, for whatever reason, they're signaling out positions now. But the price tag on FanDuel at 7,200 at a shooting guard is just unbelievable. The fact that they didn't really bump him up at all without Giannis, and knowing that how great he is. DraftKings, they got him up at 8,800, so that's good still. Hard to argue. I said on the podcast that you have to sort of like get your brain set to when Middleton was without Giannis. He's more like a 9K, 10K player probably than he is an 8K player. So I'm fine with paying up for him, but definitely again over on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, the price is just too good on FanDuel. We've seen the usage rate for Middleton without Giannis on the court this year, 33.5%. He had a sick game the other day against Sacramento. It is a tougher matchup. Indiana has not been playing well, but they're still a solid defensive team. That over-under is about 222. But still, it's just, look, if Milwaukee is going to stay in this game, they're going to need Middleton to put up big numbers. So FanDuel and cash, lock him in. His ownership is probably going to be low on DraftKings because of that price, but that's actually not a bad contrarian play. If everyone else is going to go there and have the mindset, I can't pay that for Middleton, with the value we have on this slate, it's not crazy to pay for him. You got to get it out of your mind that Middleton's, 8,800. You got to look at the scenario that's presenting itself tonight, and he's in a good spot.
Yeah, just got official word that Ibaka will start. You kind of knew that already once he was ruled in, but officially starting tonight as well for the Toronto game. All right, other mid-tier guys that you have at shooting guard. I've been riding a lot of Karis LeVert lately. He just had this matchup and smashed. Do you believe in a repeat performance is possible here?
Yeah, I do. He's been playing really good, driving to the basket, creating for his team. He's been very aggressive on the floor. And, obviously the usage rate has gone up. He's been back in the starting lineup now for 4 games. And the one game that he didn't really have a good one was the blowout against the Warriors, where he didn't play a lot of minutes. So he's got at least 35.8 FanDuel points in 3 of the last 4 games. It's only 6,000 there. And I don't think he'll be extremely popular tonight. And he scored 37 against the Raptors last week. And again, I like Brooklyn tonight to win this game. So he's in a good spot.
What other shooting guards are you taking a look at here?
Well, Jordan Clarkson, we mentioned Mike Conley is out. He's played 30 and 29 minutes the last 2 games with 44 and 40.2 FanDuel points. We see his usage rate go up. He's been really aggressive. Miami is not the best matchup, but Miami is on this long road trip too. There could be some fatigue here before the All-Star break. So Clarkson's in a good spot. Malik Beasley, obviously, now with Towns being out, that increases some usage. In fact, I had him in there. Then I saw all the value, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of don't like him anymore because if you look the last game, he had the 43 FanDuel points, but then D'Angelo Russell came back, and he only had 21.8. He still played 28 minutes, but without Towns, there's more usage to go there now.
So speaking of Towns, just got word that James Johnson is starting at center tonight over Naz Reid. Again, they just acquired Johnson the other day. And he's been, finding his role the last couple of games, so another cheap option. I think it's going to be a mess now because we don't really know how many minutes Johnson is going to end up playing. But if you want to go in that direction, he's only $3,500 over on DraftKings. Did play 28 minutes the other day against Toronto. So, in an interesting spot. He's also a really good passer. So Johnson's a guy that could potentially rack up the fantasy points there. If they're going to go ahead and give him 30 minutes tonight, it's an interesting spot. So just throwing that out there now with the Towns news becoming official. Let's jump on over to small forward where they do have Siakam listed on FanDuel. DraftKings, he's a power forward center. How much of Ibaka's impact do you think does that downgrade Siakam at all for you?
Slightly. I mean, he's had a good usage rate all year long. I think we have enough money to pay for him. On DraftKings, I don't think you need to do it at 87. There's some value, though, at small forward here. There's not many guys to pay up for, though. So I think if he fits your build, you can get him in there. I expect a solid game against the Nets.
Okay. If we're going down, you mentioned there's not really a ton to spend up for. I noticed you don't have LeBron James there. Are you off of the Lakers tonight?
We talked about it on the pod. Look, if you want to, I can never say don't play LeBron. We just haven't seen huge games from him recently. Denver is not the best matchup. They tend to play at a slow pace. And what is he like? He's over 10K, I think, on FanDuel, right? I mean, look, you could pay for him. I don't see the need to do it tonight. Towns being out maybe opens up some salary if you want to go there, but there's some other centers pay up for. So, I'm never going to say don't play LeBron, but he's not one of my favorite plays tonight.
Okay, that's fine. If we are looking in the mid-tier, I already kind of alluded to a stack there of Phoenix and Golden State. Kelly Oubre, a guy that I see in your playbook, and someone that we have projected high ownership for tonight over on FanDuel.
Yeah, it's a great matchup. He was playing really well. Obviously, last game he didn't start, disciplinary reason for missing the team bus. My guess is he'll be back in the starting lineup tonight. I would think that's a one-game thing, and he's got at least 31.7 FanDuel points, 5 of the last 6 games, and it's a good spot. Phoenix at home against a bad Golden State team that clearly is just not worried about winning games right now. So very affordable, too, on FanDuel at 6,900 in a good spot.
Yeah, and what's your take on the opposite side of that matchup? He's going to get Andrew Wiggins. No, again, I don't see Wiggins in there, but is there any interest for you? He is the guy at the very least is going to be taking a ton of shots for them.
Yeah, he will. I don't know. I don't love him. There's just too many other
options.
Yeah, that I like tonight.
All right. Is one of those options Jay Crowder? Again, back-to-back games, strong performances, a little bit of a revenge narrative as well. And very, very reasonably priced. And I'm a little surprised to see the ownership because seemingly nobody wants to play him.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that too. I mean, I know there's some other cheap guys, but he's played 34 and 31 minutes the last 2 games. Myers Leonard's out, so he's getting some time there at power forward. And look what he's done the last 2 games: 43.7 and 39.6 FanDuel points. And yeah, Utah's a tough place to play, but they haven't been dominant defensively lately. So yeah, Crowder's fine tonight.
Yeah, I think Crowder's in a great spot. And then my guy, we talked about this last night. I think we actually mixed them up, and I almost just made that same mistake again. You have Mikal Bridges in the playbook. I always like playing Miles Bridges. I think both of them are fine, but again, I kind of alluded to earlier, you seemingly like a little bit of a Phoenix stack here up against Golden State, the way your playbook is trending. He is getting hot with his shot, which is something that we like to see because he's someone that always gives us those peripheral stats.
Yeah, and again, DeAndre Ayton could sit, so that's going to open up some more shots. We saw it last game. He had double-digit shots. He's consistently playing over 30 minutes now, 10 3-pointers over the last 4 games, at least 28.5 DK points in 4 of the last 5, and only 4,800 on FanDuel, and it's reflected in his ownership of about 30%.
Yeah, it's true. That's fair. Any other value here? I mean, does Hernan Gomez not pop for you?
Yeah, he popped before this news. I was actually kind of surprised. The ownership, 3,900 on both sites, played 26 and 27 minutes in his 2 games since.
I think we might get when we get an update, it wouldn't stun me to see that rise.
Yeah, it's got him now. The Hornets are not good against the front court. So, yeah, I mean, I think in cash games, he's an excellent play. I mean, on a big slate like this, it gets some value for sure. Yeah.
All right, let's go on over to power forward where you do have Anthony Davis listed. Again, great spot if we're talking competitive game here tonight. And he's the one that's been showing that upside we've been looking for.
Yeah, I think he actually might be a little contrarian on FanDuel. There's a lot of value at the power forward spot, which we're going to get to, and I think people are going to pay down there. So to pay up for Davis in the tournament, this game is expected to be close. I think the Lakers are favored by 2 or 3 last I saw. And, he's got a double-double in 3 straight. LeBron has kind of been more the facilitator lately, setting up Davis. So I think there's enough salary, and we might get him at low ownership tonight that you can use Davis in tournaments.
Yeah, I agree. And I think anytime you can get a guy that could potentially be the highest scoring player on the slate at low ownership is always a good GPP dart to take. Someone that I think we were stunned a little bit by the production against the matchup was Julius Randle. We were kind of wishy-washy on the price, and then we saw that he's absolutely taken them to the woodshed in 2 matchups this year. The Wizards just have had no shot at stopping Randle in their matchups. Is there any, we have decent ownership for him too, and we also think that the Washington could be limited with some of their front court plays given how they used them yesterday. Is Randle a core play for you today?
He's not. I'm actually surprised at this ownership, man. Look, it is a good matchup, and he has a 30.7% usage rate without Marcus Morris on the floor, and has had that boost. Now, he's taken 58 shots from the field the last 3 games, but remember that includes 1 double overtime game. Again, it is a good spot, but there just seems to be a lot of value at power forward tonight. So I'm surprised at this ownership.
Yeah, I think, maybe not on FanDuel. I wouldn't be stunned because you have to play 2, but I agree with you. I think 8,600 on DraftKings. I think people are probably just looking at the matchup, and it is Washington. I mean, anytime you get a matchup against the Wizards, you tend to see maybe a little bit higher ownership because of the high game totals. Below him, we already talked about, I can't pay $9,800 for Sabonis, but $8,100 on FanDuel is perfectly okay for me. In this matchup against Milwaukee, again, seems like he's going to be up against Ilyasova or Marvin Williams tonight. They don't have Giannis, and Brook Lopez doesn't rebound the basketball at all. So I think we could be looking at a good double-double here out of Sabonis.
Yeah, I mean, it's a FanDuel play. Like you said, no way I'm paying that much on DraftKings. It doesn't make any sense. They're going to need Sabonis tonight. Again, I don't know how, but they're now favored by 1 over Milwaukee at home. It feels like a huge trap game for me because Milwaukee seems like the easy play. But they're going to need Sabonis tonight. 8,100 on FanDuel, certainly in play.
Yep. Nance, again, no Kevin Love tonight. Is this a play that you're still comfortable with, knowing that Drummond's there now, not knowing how Thompson's going to be used? What's your expectations here?
No, I'm fine. I'm expecting him to start, so I would just make sure he starts before I lock him in.
Yeah, I saw that report, too, that he was expected to start for Love.
Yeah, so, at this price, it's Atlanta, and we've seen Nance when given the opportunity. He's done well. So, yeah, I'm fine using Nance for sure.
All right, and then
I didn't put in there, but Serge Ibaka is definitely in play. I didn't know if he was going to be active, but yes, Serge Ibaka, that's a good play. He's still relatively cheap and good matchup against the Nets. So that's another power forward that you can go to.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, I'll rattle off some of the cheap power forwards that you have here. Obviously, James Johnson now has to be in consideration. $3,500 on DraftKings, $43 on FanDuel. Ilyasova, are you more off him now, knowing Marvin Williams is going to be active? Does that impact him at all to you?
A little bit. I mean, 4,100 on FanDuel is fine, but there's someone else, obviously, we're going to talk about that's real popular that you got to go to.
Yeah.
Ilyasova has done very well in 6 starts, but yeah, I think he's lower now with Nance and Johnson and some of these other guys. I think you don't need to go to him.
And then probably the guy you were alluding to there is Czech Dallo, $3,700 over on FanDuel. They just didn't touch the price tag. Again, they weren't really waiting. I guess I would fault
ownership error on DK.
Ownership error on DK, what, 60s? Yeah. Right. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's still Golden State, right? Like, he can still have success in that matchup at 5K, but it's way better when he was 3K. Right? Like, and I think maybe now because a guy like James Johnson is starting, like, when we get this ownership update, we should be getting it shortly if it's not already up there. I would expect probably a decrease in Gallo on DraftKings because there's going to be some other options there with Towns ruled out. So I would definitely be on the look for that. But 3,700 against Golden State over on FanDuel is a very, very nice price tag.
Yeah, I mean, I look, he could easily flop and disappoint. I mean, it's hard not to lock him in, though, because
he's always been a very solid player when he gets the minutes.
Yeah, he played 39 minutes the other night, and he had 15 points, 4 boards, 3 assists for 25.3 FanDuel points. You would absolutely take that tonight, but it actually might be better because going up against Golden State, they're 23rd in defensive efficiency against centers. So, yeah, it's just a really good spot. Again, we're assuming Ayton is out. I think he's officially listed as doubtful. Again, Monty Williams sounded like he's not going to play.
If you had to pick one, because I think this is going to be a decision that a lot of people are going to have to make tonight, would you play James Johnson or check Diallo?
Diallo
over Johnson. Okay.
In his minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely am leaning in that direction as well because I know if Ayton's out, he's going to play all those minutes. But just that matchup against Charlotte, so enticing. So yeah, it's true. Play both. You can do it on. Yeah, they're both power forward. You can play them both on FanDuel double punt. It's not a terrible call. All right, let's go to center where we had Towns, X him out. Next guy, Drummond. I mean, I love this spot for Drummond tonight. He played 29 minutes in the blowout the other day, still had over 40 fantasy points. This is Atlanta. Atlanta is starting Dwayne Dedmon tonight, so that is a change. They had Damian Jones in there before. Dedmon has played well for them, and he's been playing a lot of minutes, so maybe Dedmon could be a little bit of a stronger defender against Drummond, but I'm still expecting Drummond to do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, he had a 35% usage rate in that first game with Cleveland. Kevin Love is out. We know the Hawks are not good defensively. This game totals 234. Expected to be a close game. Hawks favored by 2.5. So, yeah, Drummond. And again, salaries opened up now with some of the value play. And especially if you had Townsend on FanDuel, the quick pivot is just go down $100 and plug in Drummond.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right, well, if you're not spinning up at center, who else are you taking a look at here? Maybe the mid-tier range.
I still like Hassan Whiteside. He only played 27 minutes last night due to the blowout. Still had 41.5 DK points, 9 double-doubles in the last 10 games. High-paced spot here against the Grizzlies. Marquise Chris, he's played very well. Now has basically the starting job for him. Kevon Looney is out. He's fallen short of a double-double by 1 rebound in the last 2 games. Yeah. I mean, look at the matchups have been tough the last 2 games. 33.8 DK points against the Heat and 5.3 against the Lakers. And now he gets the Suns likely without Ayton and his former team, if you buy into the revenge narrative.
Which I do. I'm a believer.
Yeah, so you got Chris there. Dwayne Dedmon, who you just alluded to. He's played well since coming to the Hawks. And, he's played 28, 33 minutes now in the starting lineup. So a good matchup for him tonight. Probably don't need to go to Brook Lopez now. I mean, he's in there. He's in there. You still love him?
Well, he's always my GPP dart. My affinity for him. I mean, the block upside that he brings to the table, he's like a Whiteside light. He doesn't get the rebounds, but I mean, like, there are nights where he goes for 5, 6, 7 blocks, and that's half your fantasy production right there. And now you're getting no Giannis, and the Pacers are not a good defensive team in the front court. So if he gets 5 rebounds, I'd be stunned. But if he goes 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 blocks, that's enough to pay off the price tag.
Yeah, I mean, and Giannis out, that helps him.
Terry Rozier just ruled out. So everybody is wilding out right now in that matchup. Malik Monk is now going to be an elite, I think, pivot option on both sides. I like Bridges again still. That is crazy. I mean, I think it was Sean called it the other day on our podcast that it's the final game before the All-Star break, and he called it like senioritis, where a lot of these guys maybe all of a sudden come up with phantom reasons to go hit the All-Star break early. And now we're seeing it. So be on the lookout. Again, we're wrapping this up at 6:30. It wouldn't stun me if more injury news breaks before 7:00. So
it's going to be a wild night.
Do not go anywhere if you have lineups in your thing tonight. That's for sure. Any final thoughts here, Adam?
Nah, man, just pay attention. We could have more news because, again, we've gotten news that we did not expect in the last half hour.
Right. Terry Rozier out of nowhere, ruled out for no reason. All right, we're going to subscribe to chat right now. Get us on Twitter. We'll be with you till lineup block to get you ready for this 11 gamer. Good luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.